Dispatchers help callers on the worst days of their lives. For over 25 years, we've been there. A silent partner in millions of calls thanks to our redundant and diverse networks that ensure call delivery. Today, cities are bigger, traffic more congested, and the challenge is more complex. But you're never alone, because InDigital is quietly improving, implementing, and driving the next generation of 911, so you're supported in every situation. Make the switch at InDigital.net.
If Within the Trenches has ever taught you something, open your eyes to what it is like to be a 911 dispatcher, or has inspired you to become one, then help support us and join our Patreon. Get exclusive bonus content, one-of-a-kind swag, discounts on merchandise, ad-free early access to new episodes, and much more. To join, please visit patreon.com/WTT podcast. And if you're an industry partner, we have something for you as well. And now, for the show.
This is Jordan, and you're listening to the Code 7 Podcast Network.
Warning. This episode contains the 3 A's of podcasting: adult content, adult language, and awesomeness. You've been warned.
Dispatch.
There is no one over here to cook our lunch. We are waiting for our lunch, and there's no one here to cook our lunch.
All right, calm down. Where are you at?
The group home. Now, what are you going to do?
We'll get some help over there for you, okay?
Welcome to Open Mic, where we visit the lighter side of dispatch, because laughing is good medicine. Not morning. Not morning. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. Yep. That's how this one is going to be. I like how I went kind of into like spooky stories. Good evening. Jen, what's up, yo? She goes, redo. Check that. 10-9. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Open Mic Live. Oh, man. Yep. Here we go. This live broadcast is sponsored by InDigital, a leader next gen core services, and a big shout out to subscribers as always. Thank you very, very much for everything. And yeah, how's everyone doing? How's the week been? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being shitty, 10 being awesome, how are you doing? How are things going? I would say I'm coming in at about an 8. Yes. That's what I was last week. That's what I am this week. It's been a good week. I mean, it's been busy as hell. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on as always, but what about all of you? What's your number? What are you coming in at? Again, scale of 1 to 10, 1 being shitty, 10 being awesome. How are you doing? Or do you feel like you've downloaded to like 35% and you're wondering where the rest is? Shit, I know I feel like that sometimes. I definitely do. But yeah, again, a lot of stuff going on. This past week was kind of a whirlwind. A whirlwind, yo. There was so much stuff going on. But before we get to that, as you are thinking about your number to put in, Jennifer over here is a 3. I'm tired, exhausted, and hoping it will be a better week. Too busy and just chaos everywhere. I feel you. And I hope it gets better too. I hope it eases up. I hope we can get your number up there just a little bit. And even if it stays the same, it's all good. But I hope we can get your number up a little bit, and also going into this next week that is going to be better. It'll ease up, and I feel for you. So, with that said, again, just like a lot of things. even though I said that I'm an 8, I'm with I'm thinking about how you put tired, exhausted. I too am tired and exhausted. I might have said an 8, but man, if we were just at a scale of tired, exhausted, I mean, it would be a lot lower. I'm just going on like a Topo Chico, lime with mint, and also one of my bottled cocas and a prayer and fumes. A lot of fumes. uh so episode 625 came out. I don't know if you checked that out or not, any of you out there, but if you have, please do so. Or if you've not, please do so, because it is an excellent, excellent episode. That was with Philip Daniels. He is a deputy chief as well as 911 administrator. Amazing story. Lot of good stuff coming out over there for that story. Just everything that he's doing. It's a really good one. So make sure to check it out. I ended up posting 3 different clips that follow one of his stories where he was as a former officer. He ends up working in dispatch. And oh, Donna, what up, Donna? I'm gonna see you soon, yo. I'm gonna see you soon. I'll be back in Texas twice, November and December. I'll be in Texas. Jen, where are you at? I'll come and see you. Let's hang out. Donna says she's at a 4, exhausted and in the middle of a flare. Ah, damn it. But running on laughs and sarcasm. All right, I'm down with that. Laughs and sarcasm. That should be a t-shirt, you know? Dunkin' Donuts has, America runs on Dunkin'. You can be, running on laughs and sarcasm. I dig that. I like it. H-Town, dude, I'm coming to H-Town soon. Mm-hmm. Yes. I have some homies that I met from the last ranch who are out of H-Town, and I'm getting things figured out to be headed out that way. So yeah. Um Episode 625, Philip Daniels. Make sure to check that one out. His story, like these 3 clips that I was talking about. Again, former officer ended up going into dispatch after an accident. He got hurt, and but this story specifically. Oh wait, Jen says, "Watch out with crazy drivers." I will do my best. I definitely will, because I don't want anything bad to happen to my rental vehicle. Let's see. If you ain't going 80, you too slow. Oh, snaps. I remember that. I will remember that. Excuse me. So the story that he starts sharing is from years ago. And when I say years ago, he mentions that he had a bag phone. Some of you may or may not know what a bag phone is. If you don't know what a bag phone is, simply Google it. Look it up. Do some research. It's exactly what you think it is. But he when he's telling the story, he says that he's dating himself by saying that he had a bag phone at the time. So there's this Ryan's laughing. His story, it has to do with an accident, okay? It has to do with an accident where I'll just say right off the bat that there was a 7-week-old that does not make it. Now, from what it sounds like, EMS was really far away, and he had a newer cruiser, and he and a firefighter, they basically made the decision to transport on their own. And they're doing CPR. They have to, I think he says they have to stop the vehicle a couple times. Eventually they make it to their destination, but ultimately the infant doesn't make it. So he says in the story that he at that point knew that he was done, that he didn't want to be in law enforcement anymore. He was not going to continue. The dispatcher that was working at the time ends up calling him and says, "I need you to come back to the center. I need you to come back because I need to talk to you." And she ends up meeting with him pulls him in and gives him a big hug and says, "You did everything that you could. There was nothing else that you could have done." And he said that right there, that moment of understanding, empathy, and compassion is what saved his public safety career. That's what it took. It took that dispatcher just calling him over, hugging him, and telling him that. And he says 100% he knows that if it wasn't for her, he he would not have continued. And he's been in public safety for 28 years now. Now, he told me this story this past June at National Nina in California. And when he told me this story and all, I told him, I said, because he wanted to talk more. And I said, I would love to have you on the podcast if you're willing and you would like to share. And he goes, yeah, no, definitely. I would love to. Anyone that it might help, I would love to put that out there. So we end up talking about a week or so after the conference, and we talked for a long time. And he told me that when he got back, he got a hold of the dispatcher and told her what I just said, that she saved his career. And she had no idea that it had that much impact on him. And I thought, man, that is amazing. But here's the thing, though. A few weeks later, after this happened, one of the firefighters ends up telling him that he's going to go to the funeral. And at that time, Philip was like, I'm not going to go. Like, I'm not sure if I should go or anything like that. And this firefighter was the one who had been holding the baby and stuff. And he goes, well, the firefighter's going, I should go too. So he goes, and he mentions how when he's there at the funeral home, he just like kind of peripheral sees, like the casket and everything. And he saw the mom. And at one point, she ends up beelining it for him. And he says that he was scared and nervous because he thought she's gonna come and like let me have it, And she goes up to him and gives him a big hug and says to him, "Thank you for not letting my baby die on the side of the road." And he says that he was blown away by it because he was expecting something completely different. And instead, he's thinking, or she's thanking him. And, he tells this whole story and everything. And I captured it just in those 3 little clips. But please, if you get a chance, go back and listen to the whole thing, because everything that happened to him and him ending ultimately ending up in an accident where he ends up in dispatch. And as he's in dispatch, he says, I had no idea that it was like this. And, the way dispatchers are treated sometimes. And he goes, it really pisses me off that dispatch is not classified as first responders. So, we have that whole conversation and everything as well, but it was just amazing to hear him tell this story. And even though the outcome, and I think this is for all of us, even though the outcome isn't always what we want it to be, ultimately, we were there for that caller. And sometimes it doesn't always feel like, oh man, I did a good job, because the end result isn't what we wanted. It wasn't a save per se. But what if you being there for that caller was indeed a save? Because you were there for them. And in Philip's case, the dispatcher was there for him. That was a save. Helped save him in a way and his career, and then more so when he met with the mom. Maybe some of these people that we end up talking to, it's not always the save that we want it to be, but maybe in a sense it is still a save. We just don't always think about it that way. Something to think about. Food for thought, right? You just never know. Donna says sometimes being there for the caller and bearing witness to their suffering and pain is the win. Exactly. But we don't always think about it that way, right? We end up blaming ourselves sometimes for a lot of it. If I could go back in time to talk to myself, that's probably one of the things I would say too. Don't blame yourself. Give yourself some grace. And I think we all need to do that every so often, is to give ourselves some grace. But that episode, man, we were going through it, and I will tell you, even in the clips, like you see him, getting emotional and stuff. And at one point he says, I never thought I would share this story out loud like this, but I'm sharing it. And that's a lot of courage right there. Yeah, no, I get it. Jennifer says no, because it's the guilt. Yeah, the guilt is there as well. And then the citizens, yeah, hate on us and stuff. And I think it's just more so because they just don't understand. A lot of people don't understand. And that's why I'm glad that we can have these conversations and more people start understanding. And it's not as fast as we want them to understand, but some of them do eventually understand. And in those moments, people are just looking for someone to blame. Who's the easiest person? Whoever's in front of their face or who's on the phone with them. And it sucks. But also, that's why, again, these conversations are important for us to talk these things out and learn from each other's experiences, and to be able to use our skills that we have to talk to people, especially on the outside, which is why I try to talk to people all the time, just to get people more comfortable talking about what it is that they do. And I know, I get it. And I've said this many times, and I know everyone goes through it. There's always that question: what's your worst call? Just tell them. I don't want to put you through that, because it gave me nightmares, and it would give you nightmares. But let me tell you a funny or an outrageous one. Every time I've done that, it has worked. A lot of there was one time that I did tell someone one of my worst calls, and I made sure never to do that again, because I'm sure it pretty much messed that person up. They didn't say so, but you could see it. You could see it in their face and everything. But again, this is why these conversations are important. So again, that's episode 625. Please, if you get a chance, make sure to check it out, because there's a lot of stuff in there, that we talk about, and just the realization and confirmation of everything that we do in the profession when we're taking these calls, how much Philip learned and how much he's using what he learned to not only help his folks within the center, but also everyone out there in the field, to bridge that gap of communications so that everyone knows what it's all about. Now, episode 626 is coming up, and I'm going to play a clip here really quick. And what I want to say about episode 626 is this was a special guest episode. So a lot of for the past few weeks, was probably more so the beginning of this month when this happened. But I have got this partnership between Within the Trenches podcast and Rapid SOS. And I was doing episodes at their booth this past summer at the national conferences and stuff, and we have more coming up and everything, and more announcements and all that good stuff. But they had reached out to me to ask if I wanted to be a guest co-host on their podcast. Their podcast is called The Safety Gap. And they have, I think this episode for them was episode number 22. And they already have more that are coming up as well. But this specific episode, I had the honor of sitting in with my good friend Karen Marquez, who is the Chief Public Safety Brand Officer for Rapid SOS. And so her and I, we had the honor of speaking with Jim Schmidt. And he is the father of Gabby Petito. And he's also the secretary of the Gabby Petito Foundation. And they brought him on to talk about not just Gabby's story, her legacy, and the amazing things that they're doing with their foundation that they founded in Gabby's honor, but also kind of talking about domestic violence because of this month, Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and kind of talking about that, but also a little bit on the technology side. Not a lot, but just kind of talking about how it can help, during like now in the present time and what it might look like in the future, but more so what the foundation is doing, the training that they have for dispatchers and so many other things. So their episode came out just this past week on the 22nd, and I am putting it on Within the Trenches as a guest like podcast episode, and it's coming out this coming Wednesday, the 29th. So I want to play this clip here because this is one of the clips that I'm going to be posting here soon. I already posted another one earlier about red flags and such. And let me move if you could hear that noise, I have, like any good dispatcher, like 80 different drinks on my console. So I just moved them out of the way so that I can switch this over. I'm going to share the video and then play the audio here so that you can check this out. So here's a clip from Within the Trenches, episode 626, but is episode 22 for The Safety Gap, which is a podcast that is created, hosted, and run by Rapid SOS. So here we go. Let me pull it up here.
What seems to be picture perfect was far from it. And then in the end result was her murder. And I think some people started recognizing these similarities in their own relationships and were saying that because of her, they were able to get out safely. They were experiencing abuse. And so what do we do with that as a family? We're a family of helpers. I met my wife as an EMT, and so we said, we're going to start a foundation. And we didn't know how that looked like in the beginning. We were kind of finding our way, and it kind of keeps growing as it goes along. But we couldn't sit back and not help people. The world gave Gabby a platform. Her story touches so many areas of domestic violence. And as we went on, I look back in my career and I realized I never really had any training in this. It was in my EMT textbook. I responded to these calls, and I unintentionally had failed victims in the past by not knowing how to respond, not knowing how to provide resources, how to use trauma-informed care towards them, and how to help them start that safety planning process to give them hope that there's a chance that they can get out. And so that's kind of how the foundation grew from that point, between education and prevention and supporting other like-minded agencies.
So that's a clip right there from episode 626. And excuse me, again, another great episode, and you can check it out on the Safety Gap podcast right now, anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcasts, or you can listen through Within the Trenches and the Code 7 Podcast Network, and that will be going live. If you're a patron, you already have it. But otherwise, it'll go out to the public this coming Wednesday on the 29th. And if there's any other information that you're looking for the Safety Gap podcast, you can also go to rapidsos.com. And then, of course, any information at all whatsoever on the foundation, you can go to GabbyPetitoFoundation.org. And there are a lot of different things that they're doing. They're going around conferences and speaking. They have training that they do, and there's a lot. So make sure to check that out. Again, it was an honor to not only be there with my friend Karen on the Safety Gap, but also especially Jim, and just everything that we talked about during that episode. So again, make sure to check that stuff out. A lot of clips coming up on Within the Trenches Instagram Reels and TikTok and any other platform that you see short form content. That is all out there as well. Now, one of the things that also happened this past 22nd, while that was going live, I was also live, and I was doing the public safety showcase for this month. I do it every other month, and that is exclusively on Circle. That's part of the Trenches community. If you are not part of the community yet, make sure to do so. All of those sessions live there, as well as over 200 hours of free continuing education that comes from the Dare to Be Great virtual events. And if I do the coffee chats, 10 a.m. Eastern time on Mondays, and then on Wednesday, the midweek check-in. Now, of course, I didn't do one this past Wednesday because I was already live doing the public safety showcase, but that is the schedule basically for the Trenches community. So make sure to check that out if you're not a member yet. It's free. It's completely free. You can simply go to the link that's on the screen there, links.co/IM911. Scroll down just a little bit and you will see a link there for the Trenches community, and you'll find all kinds of stuff. So let me see here. Another thing that happened, and I meant to pull this up. Let me find it here really quick, because I kind of, I was on a whirlwind trip that happened, and it was out in Michigan, and I want to find the right one to show you here really quick, because it is an amazing story. All right, I think this is the one right here. So let me switch the audio over here really quick. And we'll switch this over here to the side. Okay. All right, I'm going to switch this over so that you can see this. So I'm going to play the news story, and then I'm going to fill in some of the behind the scenes. All right, here we go.
A success story out of Edwardsburg about a local man who survived a serious car crash just a few months ago. And today, he got to meet the dispatchers and first responders who saved his life. Our Emma Brott met the survivor, Jeff Freed, and captured this very special moment. Emma, fill us in.
Well, it's certainly not often that dispatchers get to meet with the people that they've helped save. So today was special and emotional for everyone at the Edwardsburg Fire Station, because the crash survivor, Jeff Freed, met some of those first responders for the very first time since the crash this summer. With the help of a miracle and the quick response of the dispatch team in Edwardsburg, Michigan, Jeff Freed was rescued from a fiery car crash back in June. Today, for the very first time, Jeff got to put a name to the faces he's heard about for months.
No, that means a lot to physically shake hands, hug, shed a tear. Feels good. I'm glad I was able to do that.
It all started on June 23rd, 2025, when Jeff got into a serious car wreck at May Street and Lakeview Drive in Edwardsburg. That's when the iPhone crash detection sent an alert to local dispatch. Through a system called Rapid SOS, dispatch was able to see his exact location and sent fire, police, and EMS to the scene within 13 seconds. Those few seconds were the difference between life and death.
I was coming POV as we arrived on scene. Ambulance and police personnel had pulled that person out, and we had helped assist in getting him further away from the vehicle. It was a matter of seconds before that cab became fully engulfed and he was no longer going to be with us. So we're very fortunate in the events that happened that day.
In the 911 world, time saves lives, right? So the faster we can get help to people, the better. And in this instance, obviously 13 seconds to dispatch a call out that you have no idea what's going on is amazing. And I believe the police officer was there within a minute or a minute and a half.
That dispatcher was Janie Myers, and today Jeff got to meet her for the first time, give her a hug, and thank her.
She put everything in motion to help me get saved. So she's a true lifesaver.
First responders say without the Rapid SOS technology, they would have had to rely on a person passing by to see and report the fiery crash. And Jeff likely wouldn't be here today to tell the story.
Kind of just brings it all together, and then to see them so thankful to the dispatchers, our employees, that's even more, because it's not about me, it's about them, right? And to see that happen, and it's great.
A lot of people took care of me. A lot of people, including my family.
This was the first dispatch reunion of its kind at Edwardsburg Firehouse, and it was extra special because Jeff was able to share this moment with his loved ones. He had his wife and his parents alongside him today, who also got to meet those 911 heroes that saved his life.
And you know what? I hope they do more in the future because that was really beautiful to see. Great report tonight from our Emma Broad. Emma, thank you. And there's
So that right there is amazing. Wow. I'm still got goosebumps, man, watching that. Like I also have the police body cam footage of that crash, of them, pulling him out and everything. And seriously, that it was seconds. I mean, his shoes on the bottom caught fire. And because of all of that and everything, it all came together and they were able to save him. And as you can, people don't always get a chance to meet the ones that they've helped out. And this one just happened to be where they were able to, to meet him and everything. And so what I got to do, and I'm going to be talking about this each week, almost in a series, series of stuff that you're going to be seeing on social media is what I mean. Because, and there's a lot more to come. Okay. So there's only a few things that I can show you at the moment, as I'm building into everything that I'm showing you. But I got to go out and assist with this awesome moment here. As you saw, everyone was out there. We got to meet everyone. I got to go with them, them meaning Rapid SOS. I got to go with them out there and meet Janie and Nate, the two dispatchers that were working. Janie was the one who took the call and was going through all of it. Nate, the other one that was there, the other dispatcher, that is, he was helping coordinate all the stuff and then of course, everyone out in the field. And so we got to go out there and meet them. So again, there's behind the scenes that I'm going to be talking about, and more as we go through these coming weeks, where at the end, probably the end of November, is where you will see basically the finale of everything that I've been talking about. So I got to go out there and take some behind the scenes video of what was going on out there, and this meeting, and them coming together, how the technology played a role in all of this. I mean, 13 seconds, man, like all of that together, all of it put together is just phenomenal. And I also had the honor of recording an episode with the dispatchers. So I want to show that here really quick. And huge shout out to my homegirl, Keely, for taking these pictures as I was getting everything set up. So I'm just going to show a few of these here. So there's one right there. Janie on the left, Nate on the right. And I've got my super, as I as I call it, my super portable podcast equipment that I have. The video taken on my phone. The microphones, just wireless microphones. So this is us here in the kitchen area of the fire department there in Edwardsburg, and this is where everything else was on. There was a luncheon. And Jeff got to come in. His family was there, as you heard there from the news report. We were all there for this, and it was, as you can see from that video that I showed, it was a very emotional moment. And like I said, I took video of that as well. I've got video of them and actually their conversation with each other, because as you can see, the victim is immediately emotional. And as I'm coming around, taking the video, and I'm seeing everyone else getting emotional as well, I'm I'm holding my phone as I'm walking, and I'm like, because I'm trying to hold back from crying as well, because I'm like right next to the microphone, of course, for my phone as I'm taking video of this. And just these moments captured, and I got to send that that clip to Janie as well, so that she could have that forever. Because again, not everybody gets to to meet the people that they help save. And so we're all there talking, and just they're talking to me, going through step by step all of the stuff that happened that day. So let me share another one here really quick. And I thought this was really cool, that how Keely took this picture. So here's this one right here. We are 37 minutes into our conversation. So just like every episode, I'm talking, with them, and learning about the both of them and their stories. And then of course we go through the call. What exactly happened? And just the way it popped up on the screen, the technology with it, through Rep SOS, and just her being on the phone with the driver that was in this accident. I mean, at one point, I'll just say it in the video that I have, he asked Janie, he says, were you the one? Were you the one who took my call? And she says, yes. She goes, I was there. And, he's saying, thank you. And she says, this is what we do. This is what we do here. And he says, I only had seconds. And he goes, but it's nice that I'm actually able to And she finishes the sentence and says, "Be here with us face to face." And then they hug again. It's like, dude, like this is what it's all about. Like how awesome for these folks to end up meeting after all of this, and just having the moment to highlight all of the hard work that goes into all of these first responders. But especially for for Janie being there and taking that call, it was something. It was something. And I will say this. So I it was just this past Monday. I had meetings on Monday, and I knew that they were going to be out there where they were, Cass County, where they were at in Michigan. I live about 2 hours away, so it's not far. And I'm going through my meetings. I'm doing some of the editing and stuff that I have to do, right? And then I end up, I had an episode that I recorded, which another great episode coming up with Tippy, and she is the operations manager, I believe, or director. Hold on, let me double check here. Chief of staff. There you go. That's what she is. Tippy is the chief of staff at OUC, or the Office of Unified Communications, out there in DC. And we share her story. She's got 23 years in public safety. Phenomenal story. And also, we talked about culture in the ECC, which the next roundtable that I end up doing, we're going to have to do it on culture to get her and Kelly and a few other people on there to talk about this. I know everyone's talking about it. It's just their perspective on it is just amazing. And so we're going to have to pull that up, get that out there. But I recorded that episode, which was, I think, about an hour, or just over an hour or so. And we talked a little bit afterwards. And, we hang up, and then I go and pack really fast and I jump in my car and take off, because there was something that was going on as well out there. And when I showed up, they were just finishing what was going on. And it was kind of funny, though, because the way everything was set up on site where I was at, there was a car coming in back of me, and I pulled off on the side of the road. I pull off on the side of the road, man, and they pull in back of me, and I turn my car off, and I start to get out of the car. I was watching for that car because it was in back of me. But once they noticed that I was getting out, like, the person's like, "Oh." They're like, they're not continuing, so we I need to, go around the person and continue. So it was kind of funny. And also, Cass County's in the middle of nowhere, man. And so I'm driving after I meet with everyone, and we talk, we have dinner and stuff. And I take off to, I think it was the Three Rivers area, but where I was driving, um before I got there, there's like nothing. And it's nighttime. I'm talking to my daughter Lola, my 14-year-old, and she was watching wrestling, so I was getting a play-by-play, and we're talking. And she goes, "So where are you?" And I said, "I think I'm in such and such area." I said, "But there's nothing around here." I said, "It's just like I'm pulling up to an old brick schoolhouse, and there's a cemetery next to it." I said, "And there's like this it almost looks like, it looked like a dog that had like a almost like a ghost dog, like a dog with a bed sheet over it. Like, you could just see like the shape." And I thought, I hope that's what it is, and it's not like, something that I just saw out of nowhere. So I'm driving though, and I'm thinking about what month it is, but also that it's at the end of the month, right? And I said to my daughter, I said, "I bet you there's deer running everywhere around here." Because I remember when I was in dispatch around this time, it was like that. And she goes, "Well, be careful." I was like, "Whoa!" There was a big ass buck that was on the side of the road that was about to run up, and I slowed down, and it looked and then took off. But I continued going slow because, as you know, where there's one, there's usually more. So I'm just driving slow. I didn't see any other ones, but I'm not about to take a chance. I'm not stupid. Like, I know how it is when you're in the middle of nowhere, especially when it's like hunting season. Yeah, they're running. So I finally make it to the hotel. And I get there. Now, this hotel wasn't in the middle of nowhere because it's Three Rivers. So it was funny. It was like I go over the bridge and past this area, and it's like civilization. There's a Walmart, there's fast food places all over. There's a bunch of uh restaurants and or other restaurants, I mean, and hotels. So I was like, okay, I'm around civilization. I'm good to go. Yeah, the hotel was it was a Holiday Inn Express, but it maybe a horror movie could be filmed there. I don't know what it was before, but I check in and I go to the elevator, and the elevator door was like the size of like a door to a room, which was kind of creepy in itself. And then when it opened, it was like, and I thought, well, there's only 2 floors or maybe 3 floors. Like, I can walk it. I was like, I don't want my ass to get stuck in this, man. So, I end up, Donna goes, "Yeah, I'd take the stairs." For real, dude. For real. I ended up taking the elevator, and it's just 1 floor to the next, right? But it was like, and then the door opens the same way, and I'm like, "Get me out of here." Because I mean, if it dropped, it's only 1 floor, right? I mean, I think I'd be okay. Yeah, it should be okay. But I wasn't gonna take the chance. I'm like jumping out. And I go to my room, right? And as I'm walking to my room, I'm looking at the door handles on each room, and some of them, there were these, like, little rectangles, metal rectangles that were missing. And it looked like it's one of those where you put a key in to open, and then there's another lock to open the door. So, like, some of them had those missing, and I thought, "My doors better not be missing. If it is, I'm asking for a different room." Luckily, it wasn't missing. So I go into my room, and I immediately check the entire room. I check the bathroom, I pull back the shower curtain, look in the closet. There was no way to look underneath the bed, but I looked everywhere. I was like, "All right, I'm good to go." Now, this room had 2 queens, and one of the beds had, like, the linen was white, but one of the beds at the edge, it was yellowish brown. It was faint, like, you couldn't if you had to really look to see it. So I didn't sleep on that bed. I did not sleep on that bed. I pulled the blankets all the way back, though, and I was looking. I did that on the other bed too. I was looking around because I don't know, man. maybe I've seen too many videos or something, but I thought I'm not bringing any bed bugs home with me just in case. But it was all good. It was all clear. I slept like a baby. But in the beginning, I thought, oh man, this looks like hell. But it was good either way. It was cool. And also they had a Starbucks. It was only like 2 minutes away. So I got my coffee in the morning. And then the next day was when all of this stuff happened. And oh wait, let me look over here. Donna says, if that elevator is fighting for its life, I'm not giving it any reason. Donna also says, check behind the mirrors, in the grates, everywhere. Oh, dude. So these mirrors, there wasn't a way to look behind them. But like the grates and stuff, I always look in them to be like, there's no weird camera or some bullshit in there, is there? and there was nothing. It was all good. Ryan says, Ricardo in the fetal position in the tub. Dude, I've been to some hotels on my travels where I'm like, I don't know if I want to switch. I might want to switch. But I don't. I end up like putting my furniture up against the doors because you never know. So the next day is when I met up with my homegirl, Keely, and the rest of the Rapid SOS folks. And I will say this. If you're not following them already on social media or checking out what they're doing or, their newsletters or whatever, start. Because, as I said, I'm going to be posting kind of a series of behind the scenes of what was going on out there to honor the amazing, I was going to say the folks, I'm going to take it back. The amazing first responders, from Janie to Nate, everyone in the center to everyone out in the field. And of course, what helped them also get through that, all of their quick thinking, the technology that was in place, of course, but just the entire incident. Just an amazing moment for, humanity. But also to highlight these 911 professionals and the amazing things that they're doing with the life-saving technology that is provided to them. That's the kind of storytelling as well that I love. And I thank them also for bringing me in to go and record behind the scenes and record episodes with both Janie and Nate, the 911 professionals that worked on this. And to be able to see them meet each other and stuff, man, again, I can't say enough. It was a moment that it was just a powerful moment. It just shows you the impact of 911 and what 911 is all about, what dispatcher is all about, the technology, what it's all about, the things that can happen now. I think about some of the times when I was in dispatch that I wished that we could locate someone, especially if they were lost. I would go home with that guilt, Jen, like you were talking, that I couldn't find them. And the fact that there is something out there now that have so many pieces that are life-saving, bringing people together to be safer together. It's awesome. There were a lot of other, things that were going on while we were there, I have some video when I was walking through the fire department because I'm like a little kid in the fire department. I like fire trucks like everybody else and cruisers and everything. And of course consoles, because when I was in the dispatch center there at Cass County, um, I'm looking at their consoles. I'm like, man, these are pretty badass. Like these are cool. Like they were talking about how they have a heater underneath. I was like, man, I mean, when I was in dispatch, but I had coworkers that, you know, they they wanted something like that. So and it was cool too to get there to Cass County and walk in. I'd never been there before. I heard of Cass County, right? Because I worked in Allegan County. I worked in Michigan. And I know so many people in Michigan. So, Jen, the director there, I know her as well. So when I walked in and she walks up and she says hello, and I was like, Jen, I said, what is going on? I said, it has been forever. I said, the last time I saw you, I think was in Kalamazoo at the Michigan conference then. And that was like 4 years ago or so. I don't know. It was, yeah, probably about 4 years ago, I think, something like that. So I hadn't seen her since then, and there were a few people there who know me from the podcast and stuff and saw me at that conference. And it was funny because I'll say this really quick. And excuse me, Nate, I apologize. But I'm standing there taking some behind the scenes B-roll of what is going on there and all. And the gentleman next to me is Nate, and we had kind of said hello. We hadn't actually, introduced, ourselves to each other yet, but it was amazing because we're standing there and he leans in, and I saw that he was like scrolling like really fast on his phone, and he leans in and he goes, "Hey," and I said, "What's up, man?" And he goes, "You Ricardo?" And I said, "Yeah," and he goes, "Ricardo Martinez, like within the trenches?" And I said, "Yeah, that's me." And he goes, "Oh, dude." He goes, "I saw you speak in Kalamazoo, man." He goes, "It was awesome, it was powerful." And, 'cause I did my keynote, and I believe that was the one where I did Imagine Listening right afterwards. And, so we were talking, and a little bit later, he goes, "Imma be honest with you." He goes, "I knew it was you, but I had to double check." He goes, "So I was scrolling on my phone looking for pictures." He's like, and then I realized it was you, and I was like, "Well, I'm just gonna say hi." I was like, "Yep, I'm that dork." I said, "It is me." Oh, man, it was awesome. Just the hospitality, just everyone coming together for all of this. I can't say enough, and like I said, throughout these weeks leading up to the finale of what you're going to see, which will be rapidsos.com. It'll be on their social media, all of these different things. Think of it as kind of maybe like a mini doc a little bit. I don't know. We'll say it that way. I'm sure I'll tell you a different way if I get a different terminology for it. But it was really cool. And so I'm just going to play something for you really fast here. And I have a couple of them, but I'm only going to do the one for right now. And I'm not going to post this on social media yet. But for all of you who are here right now and who will be in the coffee chat tomorrow, if you join me, I'm going to play this now for you, just as a super sneak peek teaser. I'm going to be putting out our teasers and behind the scenes of what is coming up, which is why I'm saying to you, if you're not following Rapid SOS yet on their social media or on their website, their newsletter, or even their community, they have a community as well, where if you're a Rapid SOS user and you want to learn more about their services and everything, I mean, they do webinars and training and stuff on there as well. So if you've ever had any questions or anything like that, you can go to rapidsos.com, and on their links, they have something there for their community, and it's free. And you can find out a bunch of stuff. And if you're on their community already, come over and join the trenches for all the continuing education as well. So here's this quick video. Let me just switch my audio. This is like 45 seconds. And I put this together right right before I went live. So I'm just going to show this to you here really quick.
So I just got to a scene of an accident, but it's a recreation of something that happened. What is it though? What is it that's exactly going on? You will find out soon.
There it is. There it is, folks. Stay tuned for a ton more behind the scenes. As I told you, when I pulled up there, I had a car in back of me and they were trying to get around where I was at and everything else. And they it was kind of funny, man. But and I can see why they pulled off, right? Because it looks like an accident. And that's what I was pulling up to right there. So there's way more that's going to be coming up. But I want to be able to kind of build that buzz for all of you, because I'm also assisting with sharing stories, storytelling. There's a lot more to come. And I'm just very excited for all of you to see what is going to be coming up. So that is one piece right there. And I have one more for you that I want to show you. And this is footage that I took, and there's some audio and everything that is here that you're going to hear. But again, this is a build up to what Rapid SOS is going to present soon. Probably more towards the end of November, maybe the beginning of December. But I'm going to be sharing behind the scenes stuff from being out there. But I wanted to show you the initial story because it's already out in the news. The specific story is already out there and everything. Again, just an amazing moment. So I want to share this other one here with you really quick, and then we will go ahead and wrap this up. Here we go.
Was in a severe car crash and is not responding to their phone.
This is Cass County 911. Can you hear me? We have lots of help heading towards you.
So there it is, super fast, super quick, but very awesome. Again, if you're not following Rapid SOS yet, make sure to do so, and just thank you to them as well for including me, for bringing me out there to assist them. There's so much more to come, and I'm just excited for all of you to see this highlight of the 911 professionals and just everything that they did with this save. And as you saw there in the news story, again, it's all on the in the news already. But yeah, I can't say enough. Cannot say enough about how impactful all of that was, and to be able to be there on scene and to see it. So make sure to look for that. Make sure to check it out. And again, this Wednesday will be the 29th, will be episode 626 that's coming out, but that is a crossover special guest episode type thing that I did with them for the Safety Gap podcast, and that is featuring Jim Schmidt of the Gabby Petito Foundation. So make sure to check that out. Make sure to share it. And oh, my homie Joe Serio is up in this piece. That's what I'm talking about right there, man. What's going on, dude? It's my homeboy. In just a couple of weeks, we're going to be at the ranch. If you don't know what the ranch is, where have you been? Where have you been? Have you been under a rock? Maybe. Always a good time out there. And as you all know, I can't talk enough about it. I'm always talking about it. Yes, Joe says it's ranch time. That's right. Boom, it's ranch time. Hell yes. Just a couple of weeks, we'll be back out there at the ranch, and amazing life-altering stuff going on out there. If you've never been out there, if you've never heard of the 911 Leadership Training event, make sure to go to joeserio.com and go to training, and it'll be on there. I think it says like ranch training or something to that effect, but it's on there. Training at the ranch, it's on there, and you'll find everything. And as I say all the time, because it's true and it happens, if you don't jump on it now, it sells out a year in advance. So hop to it. It is an amazing time. Life altering, as a lot of people have said. And I thank you, bro, for bringing me out there as an instructor, being a regular and such. And I can't wait to get back out there. Also, because I love the bacon. So, everyone, have an excellent night. This live broadcast has been sponsored by In Digital, Leader Next Gen Core Services. Big shout out, as always, to subscribers of the podcast and all of you who are here watching, listening, supporting, and sharing. I wouldn't be able to do this without all of you because, yeah, I'm doing all this stuff, right? But it wouldn't be anything without you guys. You have brought this and made this what it is today with all of your support. So I thank you for everything. Again, shout out to Rapid SOS and for their partnership and everything that we've been doing lately. Look out for some cool ass shit coming up. It is going to be phenomenal. Make sure to follow them. And this can be seen on Facebook, YouTube, X, as well as Instagram. And if you ever have any questions, comments, anything like that, make sure to go to links.co/IM911, and that is links with 2 I's.co/IM911, and you'll find everything there. Email, social media, where to hear the latest episodes on each podcast, where to find the Imagine Listening books, the free link to the Trenches community, as well as podcast dispatch merch. You'll find it all there. Again, links with 2 I's.co/IM911. You'll find it there. Once again, you can see this on Facebook, YouTube, X, as well as Instagram and LinkedIn Live. And then I have clips for both shows and all. And that is on Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, as well as TikTok. So you'll find all of that stuff there. And then for both podcasts, you can listen 24/7 on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, your favorite podcasting app, and withinthetrenches.net. Have a good one, everyone. I hope that your numbers went up, and if they stayed the same, that is okay, because that is what open mic is all about. We're here in support of each other, whether we're sharing funny 911 stories, talking about life, talking about other things that have gone on, things that we've learned, all of it. We're here in support of each other to find some form of healing and closure through the power of storytelling and laughter, because laughter is good medicine. Have a good night, everyone, and I will see you all in the next one.